Hey, welcome back to the 5-Minute Strategist. I wanted to give you a little reminder as you dream of summer vacations and time away from your desk that we're actually really close to the midpoint of this year. And one of the things that we need to be doing when we hit these mile markers in the year is reviewing how far we've come. Today is going to serve as a high-level episode. I'm going to walk you through what should actually happen in a mid-year business checkup. It is not simply, I wanted to make X revenue, have I made X divided by 2 revenue? That is not a mid-year checkup or analysis in any way, shape, or form. So today I'm going to show you what is, and then over the next few episodes, I'm going to dive deep into each individual part of your business so that we can really make sure that you are on track with your strategy and not just your revenue goals. So let's dive in. Let's do the basics first. What were the goals that you set at the beginning of the year? So one of them was probably how much revenue you needed to make. One of them was probably how much revenue you wanted to make. But what were your other big goals? Was there a customer growth goal, a social media engagement goal, a hiring goal? Where did you start? And what tends to happen is we look at those goals and we say, are we on track to meet them or not? Tick, cross. Okay, great. Instead, before you start measuring your progress against those goals, I want you to ask yourself if they are still relevant. Do those goals still make sense for your business? Do those goals still make sense for you? Do you have new priorities, new objectives? Has something in the business changed? Because it doesn't give us anything to evaluate ourselves against a goal that's just no longer applicable. Who cares if we met it or not at that point? What is the actual goal, and are we on track for that? Then once you know what you're measuring yourself against, you can ask yourself if you hit the milestones that you expected. And I want you to be asking yourself things like, what did we achieve and how did we achieve it? And then where did we miss things and why did we miss them? Was there something unexpected that came up? You can look at your key performance indicators, your KPIs, and see how they compared with the targets that you set. Hint, if you didn't set any targets at the beginning of the year, that's a gap that we want to fill in this mid-year review. What we're looking for here is to not judge so much, oh, we did really well, or oh, we did really badly. That's not what I'm looking for. What I want you to understand is that where you've done really well, or where you've done less well, what are the factors, what are the drivers that contributed to that? Because you can use that to make better decisions going forward. So now we've kind of got this picture of where we are in our current state versus where we hoped to be, and we have a fair idea of what that's telling us about the second half of the year. Now we want to think about where do we want to improve? Where are there some gaps between our current performance and where we hoped we would be, and between our current performance and what we might need to do to get to the end of the year? What are those specific metrics that are telling you that you're falling short, that are showing you where the gap is? And then how do you dig down into that gap to understand what the root cause is? So if you're not making enough sales, there are so many things that could be the root cause of that. It could be your close rate on the sales call. It could be people not showing up to the sales call. It could be people not booking a sales call. It could be people not opting into your opt-in. It could be you not having enough traffic. So ideally, you'll be able to tell precisely what's causing the problem that you're seeing, but that's not always the case. So you also want to think about what is the qualitative feedback that you can gather. What are your team telling you? What are your customers telling you? Are there recurring themes or issues around this area where you're seeing a gap that might need to be addressed to close that gap? Then when you know what these areas are, you can think about how am I going to address them? And there's a really good chance you will not be able to fix everything. So you're going to have to spend some time deciding what are your priorities. They're probably the ones where they're causing you the most problems now, or they could have the most positive impact, or they're creating pain for you or your team or your customers. Once you decide, okay, these are the ones that I'm going to give immediate attention to, then you can design your action plan, decide when things are going to get done, decide who's responsible for it, decide how you're going to measure it. This is going to give you your roadmap for the second half of the year. Now, hopefully in the first half of the year, you've been monitoring and adapting what you were doing to keep you on track with those goals. And if you have, great, keep doing that. If you haven't, you want to start. And this is not just so that you create spreadsheets or graphs or anything like that, but this is how you stay agile. This is how you make sure that you stay on track for those goals now in the second half of the year. So remember, this is like baseline what your mid-year business review should look like. What are your goals? How much progress have you made? Where do you need to make improvement? What are those changes going to look like? And how do you plan to monitor them so that you can adapt if needed? In the coming episodes, we're now going to dive deeper into each specific part of your business so that you go into this second half of the year more prepared than you have been for any second half of the year before. So for today, I want you to consider what we've talked about. So high level, what strategic adjustments might you need to make in the second half of the year?